Grüß euch, Matega here. That's my German opening phrase I usually use in my videos. And actually it's not German, but an Austrian dialect, since I come from Graz, the second largest city of Austria. So, in the past I got a lot of requests from English-speaking players who were asking whether I could upload some content in English, because, and especially on the Titans, you know, it's my specialty. There is not so much theoretical content available. I did some of these videos in German. I cannot promise whether I ever will do it in English. Maybe you can use subtitles to get at least most of the information from the German videos. I do read and write a lot in English, but I don't talk much, and so, well, let's see whether I feel comfortable doing it. This time I got a good reason to really post something in English, because you see it here, these 2,446,000, it's by far the biggest Mythic Titan hit ever, and well, it was just great for me to be on first position in all three rankings. The hit itself, you will see it afterwards after I speak a bit about it. It was just really pure luck. I mean, the board was exploding, tiles everywhere, diamonds in the main color, in different colors. I didn't do a lot for this amount of points, but as you might expect, since from the last 14 Mythic Titans, I won 8 of them. So this consistency must be, well, there must be some reason for it. And I think that I found a good way to make the few moves you actually can do or the few decisions that you can take within a Titan hit, that I have a good plan for them. So when to use which items, which moves, well, I'm not totally sure whether I can explain everything, but it's definitely not just the heroes, because most of the players here on the top have even better rosters than me. And especially Colonel Indiana Longnuts is usually perfectly prepared. All of his heroes are limit broken, and I think he has like 4 Mickeys. Well, so he often or nearly every time is my biggest rival, and he also won the last 2 red Mythic Titans, the Ifrits. And because of that, I'm really happy to finally have succeeded here also, because it was the last one which was missing, and now my collection's complete. Okay, so back to the first hit, not the first hit, to the biggest hit. You see that I only have 1 Pengi. And this, of course, is a drawback for all Titans, well, not just for this one, but for the last one, and probably also for future Titans. Pengi is extremely dominant, and the main reason for this is that the teams deal the damage so consistently. Any refill from Pengi directly translates to a lot of damage, and you can refill him just by with mana potions, with hurricanes, and also indirectly with trolls. So, like you're assured to get like 10 to 11 Pengi hits in any attack, often more, and this means like maybe 7,000 damage you're guaranteed, even without anything else. And of course, you're dealing a lot of there are a lot of other damage sources. And so I think with these double Pengi hits, this was probably the perfect team. And everyone in the top 15, but me, was using this team. Of course, I would have used it as well, but with just one Pengi, you cannot play double Pengi. So if both Pengis deal together like 1.2 million, 1.3 million for sure, then any hit, if it's played properly, will deal, let's say, 1.8 million upwards. When I say 1.8 million is guaranteed, of course I'm speaking exactly of this setup, because costume Athena is very important for it, with both kind of death downs. If you don't have her, and it's not just the death dance, because also the elemental link 15% attack, which doesn't only count for tiles, but especially is important with Pengi, because heroes like Mickey don't increase the power of the specials. So Athena is very valuable in this team. And if someone doesn't have her, then he has to replace either Glenda with Krampus, or he has to replace Titan Banner with Valkyries. And so the teams will suffer from it, but still a team without Athena will still have something like 1.5 million assured. And on the other hand, these Pengi teams usually have a lot less damage per tile than conventional teams due to the lack of Mickey or other attack pushers. So let's say these double Pengi teams have a very high level of expected points you deal, or expected damage you deal, but not many attacks which score a lot higher or lower. On the other hand, the variance of ordinary teams is bigger. There could be some really huge boards with higher damages, but as said, over the long run, these Pengi teams are better than anything else. And my team I used here is, let's say, the combination of it. I have just one Pengi, but on the other hand, I could add Mickey to the mix. And because of that, I had like, I think 30 to 40% more tile damage. And this probably helped me to take full advantage of the huge board I was presented. Okay, so I usually do my attacks relatively late because I'm waiting for other results to analyze some videos and see what's best. In the meanwhile, I watch the scores of other players, and so I see who is the biggest competitor. And Colonel also usually attacks quite late, but in this case, King Blanco, Feldin, and these two players are Priest and Subclavian from Gypsy Danger. They did the hits quite early, and so I knew what, let's say, my points target. I didn't expect Colonel to hit nearly close to what he did, because after the first day, after the first 6 attacks, he was below 10 million. And of course, I knew he didn't play Pengis by then, but I also didn't remember that he has the perfect team with 2 of them, theoretically even 3, I don't know. And he passed by in huge steps. At that point, I had 7 attacks and was standing at like 11.5 million. And I knew that with probably my best team waiting, I also didn't attack with Pengi before. I knew that I could reach something like 20 million, maybe a bit more. But I never thought I could reach 21.2 million. And when I saw Colonel Indiana Longnuts making steps of 2 million per hit, really, I was watching live when he climbed with this 2.4 million hit, then like 2.1, 1.9, 2.2, and I really thought it's over. But in the 10th hit, I finally, when I already thought I couldn't reach him, I had this huge board. And just to put it into perspective, in my 12 attacks, I'm usually very consistent, but I don't often have these huge hits. The reason for this is that I play a bit slower than most players at the top, and especially than Colonel Indiana. And because of that, even if the board is good, it's usually not the very best result. It's usually not, let's say, one of the top 5 hits. But on the other hand, I don't make as many mistakes as others. And so there are usually not many very small hits. And in this case, my lowest hit was 1.4 million, and the average hit was 1.77 million. But this huge hit was the only one above 2 million. So I didn't expect that this could happen to me. And yeah, it was incredible that I finally, after the 10th attack, I was finally in contention again. So Let's see this hit. Again, I don't think I played anything special in it. It was just huge. Even the 2 manual moves I did, it's something I usually try to focus on, to wait for a good situation when it makes sense to, like popping an off-color diamond, which leads to popping your main color diamond, something like this, or like forming another diamond by popping one. And I usually try to make such moves. This time I made 2 really weak moves, so I cannot be really proud about how I played it, but well, it unfolded. So I said I was in contention again after hit 10. To be honest, I was very optimistic that I could reach Canadian long nuts points at that time, because then in hit 11 I made a huge blunder. Something, let's say everyone, it will happen to everyone from time to time, but usually I really try to focus so that something like this doesn't happen to me, but right when it was important, it did happen. I forgot to use Titan Bane at the beginning of the fight, and I already dealt more than 600,000 damage until I realized what I did. So of course I used it from then on, but I'd estimate that like 200,000 damage were missing because of that. And in addition, the board wasn't as good as I was hoping for. And so there was still a huge amount of points missing in order to close the gap to long nuts. I mean, huge compared to the teams I still had available, because I had to decide to either use an already tired team or a team I'm not very comfortable with. And in the end, I decided to use such a team I'm not comfortable with. It's a green team with Chameleon, but not with Custom Brienne, which I usually prefer, but rather with Reta Tosca and then you play it with a Bane of Valkyrie. And this team is very risky because a lot of things can happen. You can misclick with Chameleon, you can accidentally play Bane of Valkyrie before the second activation of Chameleon. You can, with Ratatoska, you need a really good timing, because otherwise, if you don't time it in a good manner, most people I saw use these tile enhancers to not often enough. They often become greedy and wait with using them, and then the tiles are gone before they've used them. So also with Chameleon, if you have to activate it twice, you only have exactly these 3 turns to deal nearly all your damage, because afterwards it's not easy, and actually it's unlikely that you can charge Chameleon twice again. And even if it's possible, it's often a good idea to focus on trying it, because it takes time and maybe you make other mistakes in that time. But I thought that this team had the highest chance at scoring really high, and that's what I needed, because I was 1.75 millions behind Kernel. And well, I think this team had the best shot at achieving this. So you'll see my attack now. It really started not as I wished for, because there were few combos. There also were not many tiles. But then, like 1 minute in the fight, there out of nowhere appeared a huge combo, something like combo 15 or even 17. I don't remember correctly. So I had more than a minute remaining, and also some items, including scrolls, and yeah, I was basically through. In the end, it still became close. It was 1 or 2 combos which made the difference. After 12 attacks and 21 million damage dealt, yeah, I'm happy it went how it did.
Hey man, how the hell you do?
So that's it, my first video in English. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like it, maybe subscribe, and I'd be really happy if you share it, if you have if there is an English or even in another language a group in line, or I don't know if you use Telegram or somewhere else. If you share it so that other players who are interested in Titans can watch it. Thanks again. I cannot guarantee whether I will continue to make content in English, because you see I'm quite nervous at it. I had to do some breaks, and yeah, but maybe over time I became more comfortable with it. Oh, and I forgot to show what I found in my wardrobe. The shirt, record breaker. I had to wear it today. I bought it for another reason, but well, it suits today. Thanks for watching. See you again. Bye.